Done that before. Welcome to tonight's zoning meeting. I'm Angela Brown. Jerry and Darcy are the chair and the vice chair, but I'm stepping in tonight because I'm the next in line. The third and fourth, there we go. So they are at the polls right now, the poll workers. So we're going to go ahead and call to order. Please silence any cell phones, and then we'll go ahead and do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we will move the agenda around just a little bit. But first I'm going to go ahead and do, actually I need to do the roll call. So Lisa, will you do the roll call, please?
Sure. Jerry Valentine, Darcy Kaplan, Angela Brown.
Here.
Jenny Slows.
Here.
Jasper Dickerson.
Here.
Tara Shields.
Here.
Hey, I'm sorry, Keith Goshen.
Here.
Down at the end.
Okay. Do you gentlemen need any, do you need the extra time up front, or would you be okay if we went straight into you? You're technically second on the agenda.
Whatever works for you.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, was the meeting advertised, Lisa?
Yes, in the, August 20th, July 22nd, 2023, Delaware Gazette.
Okay. This isn't on here anymore, but I'm going to go ahead and read the adopted policy. The adopted policy of Berlin Township Zoning Commission is that each applicant or agenda item will be given 10 minutes or at the discretion of the chairperson to make the formal presentation. The chair will allow questions from the commission members in order to provide a timely and orderly discussion of business for consideration. Finally, the audience will then be given up to 3 minutes or at the discretion of the chairperson for each speaker to respond. The chairperson may limit repetitive debate, and all comments from the audience must be addressed to the chairperson. Is that good? Okay. So before we jump in, let's do approving the BZC minutes from July 25th. Can I get a motion?
Can I make a motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Mr. Dickerson.
Yes.
Ms. Slows.
Yes.
Mr. Goshen.
Hang on, let's see if I was here. I was not here. Okay. I'm staying.
Okay, so abstaining, and Tara Shields, Ms. Shields, and Ms. Brown.
Yes. Okay, and we'll sign the minutes after that. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move the, our visitors up. So we're going to jump into, let's just start. Oh, this is the business part. We're going through they're going through the ARB process. I also do want to point out we are being recorded right now. We're live on Facebook, just so you know. So this is BBP 23-003 filed by North Old State LLC, Brent and Jordan Yates of 3216 South 3 Beeson Cave Road, Galena, Ohio 43021. The applicant is requesting an administrative review for a multi-purpose residential development, parcel number 418-120-01-009-002 and 418-120-001-012-002. And then I'm just gonna say the -000 all of that, is that okay? Okay, as it's called out, which is plus or minus 31.683 acres. It's zoned Berlin commercial overlay. It is a BCO, it's in the BCO right now. We do have it in the BCO as R10. Again, it's on North Old State in Delaware, Ohio. So it's right next to the concrete Sadco right now on the other side. So it's Sadco, it is right on the other side of the lake. So when you cross over and you're going towards Delaware on 3637, first you have the event center that's back down in there. And then then the piece of land comes out, and there's one property ahead, right? That's, yes, still right there. And then there are 3 properties back out here. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everybody. Pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Jordan Yates, the developer who's the GC builder partner for us here on our team. And so for me, I'm excited to finally be a part of you. It's been a long process. Acquired the land in 2017, and I was actually looking for a place to build a home. And before I got around to building on this, I found another home on the address on 3 B's and K that you read. And so it was already, move-in ready, so it was perfect for me. So right down the street, and we spent the last few years trying to figure out what we wanted to do with this property. I love the area. I've got children at Berlin and also at Berkshire, and then the other John Cake. So we're in the school district, we're local, and happy to be seeing the area really develop. And when I think about this project, since there is nothing from when you cross over the lake really until you get all the way to the east side of Delaware, we want to be the first and really set the tone and really be a gateway into the way that the rest of that can develop. We've worked pretty hard to make this project feasible. We had to figure out a water line solution with Delco. So we've got a 6,500 foot extension that's going to come off of Black and Gold State, and that's oversized, and it will be able to feed additional development in the area all the way along 36, 37, and then also work with the regional sewer district to be able to get sewer for the property. And so that's actually going to run to the east, go across Allen Creek, and then tie into a lift station on Africa Road. So again, it's oversized. Being able to handle additional development in the area was the thought process there. So beyond just our project, we're able to help a lot of development come to the immediate area through the infrastructure upgrades that we're looking at. You've already mentioned 31.688 acres across 3 parcels. A total of 250 units, and so our net density is 8 units per acre, or it's 10 units per developable acre, and then 8 units over the overall parcel, because obviously there's some acreage that's stripped away from what we can develop on. We've got a central green space here in the middle, and so this is along a ravine, and it's got old growth forest and some absolutely massive trees. We wanted to keep all of that to have it be a natural area and really come into the natural area that is all around us. This is Army Corps property, so it won't be developed. You've got the feel of the lake as soon as you cross over 36, 37. So we really wanted to play that up, and then having low density helps us do that, along with a lot of undeveloped space to the north. At the request of ARB, we added a walking trail. We were able to activate this green space here on the north side, and we had to balance the topography because there are slopes which prohibited us from being able to do it down here. So we did try to accomplish the request of being able to activate that. We have a secondary green space that we're building down here on the southern side, and then the centerpiece of the development will really be the 7,000 square foot clubhouse. So it's resort style, really large pool, all sorts of interior amenities. But we feel like, with the guidelines that we met for the overlay code, it's going to be an incredible development. Really nice exterior materials, interior materials thoughtfully laid out, and then being able to partner with somebody like David Ruma and Skip Weiler to build it and then handle the construction and leasing. It's really going to be an asset for the community, and hopefully something that you guys would enjoy driving past every day when you go past the development. Tyler, David, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think you got it pretty well covered. Don't miss anything.
Well, there were a few items that the ARB sent us with to get additional information. I was going to bring this up yesterday. We were having some, I don't want to say issues, but I'm going to just say issues with the lighting. I don't want to go over that subject. Okay. But this is response to every other one of the items that they had. So we can check off all of those boxes. I didn't think you guys would come in yesterday anyway to pick them up. So, I mean, yeah, to be true,
Does everybody have a lighting?
they don't yet, but let's go ahead and keep it down. I'm keeping it suspended.
Okay.
And I have a full-size copy as well. For a book. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go through this, here to, if I can find my glasses, to show you, or direct you to what we did do. Jordan's already talked about the added pathway here. I've hit it with a highlighter marker so you can actually see it. That's an exhibit in here as well. We can add to all the different sheets. That's going to be a 5-foot walk, and we've activated that with a series of benches, 3 benches that are on that, so you can look over the ravine. That one of several on this property that we're preserving. That was obviously a request by the ARB to do that, to activate that space. We talked about doing pathway and explain it. We just can't, because if one person, I can build it for unhandicapped people. So now, if someone wants to get out and walk through the woods, they can do that. But once I put it up there, it has to be accessible. So, we did one along the rim. We had our civil engineer look at this, make sure that our grading would still work with what we have, because these are ravines, and this will work. So we were able to incorporate that to the request of the ARB. There was also a request that we update and include the detail of the mound, because your code is very specific about this mound. The side slopes, the top, the back, the mounting, whatever. So we've incorporated that in several different exhibits and explained in detail that mound, so it conforms and complies exactly with what the code calls out for. And then we talked about how we're dealing with the environmentally sensitive areas. Obviously, there's some ravines on here. There's a wetland that's at the top. Ravines are here. There's a water course through here that's jurisdictional, and we have some 20% slopes. So we're going to impact some of all of that. Not to any great deal, but we detail that. And then we also have a letter from our environmental person, Matt Kaminsky. It's at the very last, Central Ohio Wetland Consulting, LLC, on the methods that we're going to use to mitigate this. Obviously, we've got to go through the final permitting with the Corps and everybody else. But usually this is a purchasing of wetland credits and a local wetland bank that we have to deal with the stream impact. And then the 20% slopes, those aren't regulated or protected by anybody, but we've stayed out of them as much as possible, given that these are ravines and that's where the trees are, which we want to preserve. But it shows you in some of these maps, in particular, yeah, one of these shows it. Yeah, that's the topography map. But there's one that shows you exactly the impact and where they're at. And I'll pull it out and show it to you. And it kind of shows you how we're staying out of most of that. Just small. Yeah, I think it's C4. I don't have my glasses on again.
Yep, it's C4.
Yeah. So the wetland to the north, obviously, we're staying completely out of because of the setback. And then we have steeper slopes along that. And we're impacting mainly here along this area. And I'm going to blame Mike Love at the Delaware County engineers, because we had our entry here to avoid all that stuff and only have to cross it. But he says, oh no, you got to be way up here because of stacking. So that causes citrus configuration. So I'm going to blame that on Mike Love. But we're still under the impacts for what they call a nationwide permit, which is what I would call a desktop permit. It's if I'm under the was it .5 acre or something like that impact, then I just submit a permit to the Corps, go through that permitting, and then you would end up purchasing the mitigation impacts from them, and they basically put that towards creation of new wetlands and things like that. So that's how we're going to deal with that. That's similar to the same information that we had on the other one. New exhibits, well, the ARB checklist and what we've done to, which I probably should pull that out, of what we've done to comply with all the requirements, which I think is helpful. And of course, I can't find it.
It was right, at the very beginning.
Oh, imagine
Yeah,
that.
it was, just a couple pages.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. One of the items which I think is interesting is the proposed pavement section. You guys have a section that calls out 8 inches of stone and then 2 inches of asphalt. We're using roller compacted concrete, which is actually stronger. So we had our civil engineer do a structural comparison, and that's in here showing you that the roller compacted concrete, if you're an engineer, you understand that the structural pavement composition of what you guys are requesting for a 20-year life is 1.98. What we propose to do, which is 6-inch compacted roller concrete, 1.5 inches of asphalt, 2.81. So we're not double, but we're 1.3 times stronger. So it's going to last longer than even with the code.
Okay,
And roller compacted concrete is becoming more of a standard. I don't know if it's become a standard in Delaware County for public streets, but it certainly has in Columbus because it's so much stronger.
okay.
So that's what we're doing on that. So there's documentation on that part. And the letter we talked about. So those were the big things other than the lighting. They could not read our lighting plan. I couldn't read it either. But when we went back to look at that, we had, you have different lighting levels based on whether it's residential or whether it's commercial. We had used the commercial one, okay? So we had to find a different light fixture anyway.
Okay.
To meet the 1600 lumens. And you guys probably did this intentionally, which is fine, but I just want to go ahead and explain what we found out with this to get some direction. Because I think we want to come to some closure on this. But what we found out is, or what Terry found out, Terry's over here. He found out stuff about lights that you probably ever wanted to know. He's reached out to every manufacturer and supplier in the Columbus region to look at these light fixtures, to find one that meets the 1600 lumens. There is not a commercial fixture available of 1600 lumens. I started wondering why, so I started doing some research, and that's what this board and what everything shows. 1600 lumens is about the equivalent to a 100-watt light bulb. You're asking me to light parking lots with 100-watt light bulbs. Now, I don't know if that's what you intended to do or not, but I'm telling you that's what your code is asking me to do. So what we found, the lowest lumen was here on this one. It's about 2,500 lumens. So it's nearly double what you guys are asking for. But that's the lowest that he could find in the entire region that's available commercially.
What kind of lights are you looking for?
They're just
metal halide or?
no, these are LED.
Oh,
Yeah, LED. But the 100-watt is an equivalent to a 100-watt
No.
incandescent. So it's a porch light. Is what your code is restricting us to for our street lights in here, which I don't think is safe, but it's your code. And so I guess part of it is this something we should ask for a divergence for, or I mean, if we're lighting this with 100-watt light bulbs, do we even light it? That's the next question. And I think there's a safety issue associated with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what I would say is when those requirements were coming, were being done, obviously, they were, the concern was light pollution
Right.
and wanting to, with keeping kind of with the more rural feel, also make sure that we were keeping with being able to see the stars.
Right.
And so that we didn't have all of 36, 37 now just
Right.
but if that is something, it may be that it still says no on here, but it's something that as it goes to the trustees, if it doesn't make sense, because exactly, you need to have safety. And even though we're not supposed to talk about safety, that's more traffic safety. We want our residents to be able to be safe and feel safe. And so when it comes down to if it's not the right lighting that was proposed in the documentation, then that's something for us to go back and look at.
Yeah. So we literally just found this out today. We finally started saying, why can't we find this?
Sure.
And I know why.
It's because it's not.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. The lowest wattage that they have in an LED is 22 watts, which equates to that. I have brighter uplights in my trees in the backyard. I started investigating everything. And it's like, oh, wow, this is really a low number. It sounds high.
So what part number are you saying you use?
Well, we just, the bottom, they have different throws, they got the type 2, type 3, whatever. I would almost say if we're going to say something about a divergence, that we say around 3,000 lumens, because that captures a lot of these different things based on the throws that they have, because you got the type 3, which goes forward, the ones that go down, and the ones that are all the way around, and they have slightly different amounts of lumens here. So we get up to like 2,800 on a type 3, on a 22 watt LED, so.
And not to put you on the spot, but safety in the field is a big concern. And do we even think that that would be enough? What is typical in a development that you're going to do for multifamily to feel comfortable as you're walking out to your car in the middle of the night?
I mean, so we'll have on the building, so we don't necessarily need them all at the building, but we do like the parking areas. So it's just, especially winter time, you've got to be able to see snow and ice. I mean, there is just a safety factor, but we don't overlight and cover every inch of everything.
Yeah, we hit decision points, corners, dead ends, the compactor, places where you're going to be that at night potentially that you want to have lit, decision points.
And we've typically been using those downlights, so we don't get a lot of light hitting off-site.
Well, as I said, and you are using, I think that area calls for the 12-foot poles.
Yeah.
It calls for 12-foot poles and 1,600 lumens, which is, so now I got these short little pools of light, which, so they are, their destination areas is what they are, so.
So if you had a 100-watt light bulb 12 feet up,
Yeah.
it wouldn't do a whole lot on the ground. You need hundreds of them to really cover your site.
And back to Jordan's question, I don't know what the right lumens is.
Okay.
I don't know what they are.
So maybe before we commit to 2,800, we could possibly recommend, hey, here's what we see from a low light level, because we know that that's the goal, is to find the balance between safety and lower light and a lack of light pollution. So we probably need to do some research and recommend, and then have a conversation around what you guys want.
Yeah, these guys are local.
I don't know if they are. There's something that one of the reps that's in town can get.
Yeah,
I mean, can
can
you
you find out if they have some installed somewhere in a parking lot that you guys can go take a picture of? We've installed these in several locations. Yes. I mean, it'd be good to know what it looks like.
Seems like the magic number is like around 5,200, but I'm not sure exactly what that looks like.
And I think our standard size is 14 feet, so 12 is pretty close. I mean, 12 is definitely doable. And maybe it would be a little lower as far as the brightness on the light, but I still think.
Yeah.
Well, let's go look
Yes.
at what we've got, and we can show you what we've got installed. We can tell you where they are if somebody wants to go look and get a feel. And I think it would also help for us to show the locations on the plan, because most of this lighting is all very internal to the site, so it's not like you're gonna see a lot of it driving.
Now,
Both state your name or
Yeah, sorry, I'm
and
David
your
Ruma.
address.
I'm sorry, David, what?
David Ruma, R-U-M-A,
And what's your address?
485 Metro Place, I think it's Sonny.
Aaron?
Sure, yeah. Same address.
Can I just to do your research as far as what a safe number would be, while
Okay.
focusing, maybe what other rural areas that have, apartments are using, because we definitely would want it to be safe for the residents. And then present, that the next step to the trustees as far as what they would feel comfortable with.
okay.
Absolutely. Terry, I'm sorry. When you were doing the research, did you look at the industrial overlay or any of the other commercial components of the commercial overlay? Because we've got commercial right across the street, and are they granted higher threshold?
Yes, yeah. They are. And I don't have that code right in front of me to be able to reflect it, but it does, and it has a higher pole height, then I have a higher amount of lumens.
So maybe there's a happy medium there if we go, hey, right across the street is gonna be having, is allowed to have this output. We are not truly residential, it is a residential use, but it's not like, and so maybe we more apply towards what they are granted in that.
Yeah, I think that's completely reasonable.
Okay.
Okay.
And then there was one other divergence that we asked for, which was you being able to use Hardy Point. It looked like it was potentially just a mistake. We're gonna do that.
They put the full 8 by 4, 8 by 4 foot.
Yeah, it'd be a mixture, but then you have horizontal and vertical and so.
And trim out
Yeah. We presented this with EFS, just to make sure it was in compliance with the code, but asked for a divergence to go to the Hardy. It would be similar color.
Do we want to talk about the reason for the request and then, I guess, as we were looking through the code and where we thought it was potentially just an oversight, is all of the industrial overlay allows cement board. And then in the commercial overlay, everything other than R4 and R10 allows cement board. And so then when we segment down into R4 and R10, it's not. And so, you know, I don't know, there are 2,500 acres overlaid, and now just these two little ones, you can't use it.
No, I think that's an oversight.
It felt like that.
Yeah, that's an oversight.
Okay,
I think the two choices are wood and heat, other than stuff.
that's correct.
And
Yeah.
wood is
No.
not a good long-term
No.
selection.
No, that's an oversight.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just working out the lighting, I think we addressed everything else from the ARB, other than we just worked through the lighting, and then if it was an oversight, having the ability to use cement board would be fantastic, that's what we're requesting, and so,
Okay.
seems simple.
Thanks.
Do we want to go down, that's where do you want to start? Any- Do you have,
I can start.
or Keith can start.
I can start, I'm ready. I just have to sort out my papers in front of me.
Okay.
Got too many. One of my things was, you fixed, this is a dog park and the access to it, that pathway. I had concerns about, basically, without that extra pathway, it just seemed like everyone would have to walk the parking lots to get there.
Right.
Which, from a safety standpoint, I wasn't really thrilled about that idea. So having the walking path, and then on the other side by building 8, I think you've got some sidewalk. To be able to get there without having to walk directly down the parking lot, especially when it's open.
Right.
Than, maybe during the day. So that was one, we fixed that before we got here. What you had done, I did have concerns about the stream next to building 5 because the existing stream, because it still showed in the old drawing that it was literally gonna go through like right at the corner of the building.
Right.
Which I'm like, there's no way to keep that stream if you're building a building there. But now you've shown how you're gonna kind of remediate that. So that was one of them, put that in there. Usable green space, I like that you've added the path. The only other item I have on that though is, if I look to the south, primarily the southeast where you've kind of got that central green. If I go north, you've got the dog park. On that other side, I see that it's some benches, but I'd like to see something more, kind of like you have the little pergola areas, more of a little defined area around one of those bench sites, kind of by the retention pond. So it's a little bit more than just a bench sitting there. It just seemed like when I looked, you kind of tried to activate, and adding that path activates it more, but it just seemed a little lacking in that corner. And I thought, you already kind of mentioned, you've got a great spot, a great location with the wooded areas and the natural features. I'm like, they just seem like that could have just a little island or something that could really accentuate the fact that it'd be a stopping point almost.
So up kind of by building 7 is where you're talking.
Yeah, kind of like between building 7 and maybe the mound in there somewhere.
Right.
You know, because even before the path, I was like, it just seemed like the path is in there and it helps, but before that, I'm like, it just seems like there's something missing. You've got the retention pond, you've got all the open space, but there's just, like if I'm living there, there's just, other than if I sit in the grass, there's nothing for me to do. So, and I did read through the information about the pathway, which made sense to me, because I saw some of your older drawings where you were looking at doing a path all the way around retention. But your point about the 8 clients, with that grading and everything, I'm like, okay, yeah, you wouldn't be able to do that there. It would, yeah, but it would still be kind of open to the parkland. If I just kind of walk through there. But so that area, from the standpoint of usable, your mail kiosk, I like the fact that the one is in the clubhouse. So you already have the parking, so we don't have to deal with that. The other one, I think, was opposite building number 4. Is that correct? Kind of towards the green space on building 4? Is that where the other one's located?
There is no,
Or is there just the one?
there's just the one.
Okay, I thought I saw something, there was another one.
No, I hope not. There's not supposed to be another one.
Okay,
It should just be in the clubhouse.
okay, perfect. That takes care of that, so I can cross that off the list. Details. And then it has come up before, and I want to mention it. I don't know that it's necessarily an issue, but I want to kind of bring it up because maybe we can get the opinion of some of the other members. There is in the code kind of a statement about any building that fronts 3637. And that would be building 1, that you try to design that frontage to kind of look like the front of the building.
Uh-huh.
What I will say is looking at your elevations for your buildings, what I like about them is all the architectural detail. It's very difficult to tell from really the either side which one is truly the front or the back, other than the stairways kind of leading up. So I think you've done a good enough job to kind of meet that. But I just kind of wanted to bring it up in case anybody else wanted to. That was like the only thing I saw in there that I don't know if it'll come up in the next one or if someone else will have a comment, but I personally am looking at your building, especially like that building has 1 from the back. I mean, they're good looking buildings. I think overall the entire project is a good look, especially the way you utilize the natural features of the land. So I was joking with somebody who said a 19 to 21-year-old, they're both asking me, like, can I move there? And I'm like, yeah. Get out of the house. Get out of the house, get a job, yes. So.
I did find the label we were talking about, mail kiosk is labeled in the center there. It was there at one point in time.
Okay.
It's an errant label that didn't get removed.
Okay, perfect. I could have sworn I saw it there. And I'm like, I don't know if the parking's right for that. I was worried. So. Okay, but thank you for finding that. And that was, with you adding the things from the ARB, those were the only things I wanted to make sure that you brought them, so I'm good with everything else.
Yeah. So with the question with the lighting, so I know you need to figure out the lumens and everything, but as far as the height, were you planning on going more towards like 20 feet, or would you, it says in here, we're not excluding, or what would an ideal height be for you?
Well, for me to answer, what I understand is 14 feet or less, because they don't have to get a special truck to do it, to change out light bulbs. But, you use 14 in most of your projects.
Yeah, I mean, it's about how much coverage you get for the areas, but 14's been adequate, so I think if 12 is the limit in the code, then I don't think that's a problem.
Okay, all right. And then, so with the changes to the pass, you've now met, I'm asking, as far as the open space, minimum 15% of total traffic to central green space, you've met that now? Okay. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. It's nice having this kind of side by side. This is nice visually to see what we changed to meet the requests. I think the design is very nice. I like the sleek look of it. And I also think the hardy plank was on this, and I think it makes sense. So I don't have anything else. It's very nice.
Sure. Couple things. I'm glad to see you have a proposed emergency exit out of there. I'd like not to see it proposed. I'd like to see emergency versus proposed. So that people should have 2 ways of getting in case there's something blocking your entrance.
Yeah.
So I'm always that person, right? The dog park. Is that gonna be split between large and small dog park? I mean, is there a way to differentiate between the two?
What do you normally do, Dave? We've done both ways before.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty small for, large dogs and, I don't know.
I don't think we got to that
Detail yet.
level of detail yet. We've done them both ways. We haven't had a problem, but I've seen people with small dogs in both parks.
Exactly, and there's other people that don't want to take
So
those small dogs in there.
it's, people work with what you have.
Right.
But you do want to protect.
Yeah. It's just like an odd creek, separate a little bit. And then on the sidewalk, I'm gonna stand up for a second. Is there an ability to put, I know you have a lot of topology tree up there, but is there an ability to finish that sidewalk all the way on that side of the road? So that way you have a loop to walk around versus just a stop and then out on the road.
I think that was the issue when we looked at it.
Yeah, it's getting pretty tight down there. Actually, I don't know if it makes sense, but if we put like one of those crosswalks on the pavement. Yeah, crosswalk, it's really that's what you can do, is just hop across.
Right, and remove your road into.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but yeah, we're pushing up against that ravine right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can backfill as well, put timber to tie it together. Maybe see it down the tangent trails all the time, holding up dirt. You can put a piece of concrete in there to hold it in.
I would say it looks like it's possible, but it wouldn't have a tree line. It would be right up on the roadway. So
I think that's a little safer for people to not just be crossing traffic.
Is there a slope issue there?
There's a little bit.
well,
Or we don't do that?
yeah, we know, I'm looking at that's right here. So they've got a little bit of a flat area, which is probably big enough for 5 block. And then it starts sloping down at 3 to 1. So, it doesn't start falling immediately. So we have a flat area.
I mean, if it even tapers down like 3 feet just to get movement through there.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to do 4.
Yeah, 4.
Something like
And you're
that.
doing 5 right now.
So do a 4 foot abutting the road. There's the intersection.
I mean, that's gonna be one of the busiest intersections.
Yeah, we'll be,
And then on the lift station, I hope it's not gonna smell like the one in Cheshire.
I hope not either, but that's really not part of this project. I mean, it is and it isn't. That's the county.
Yeah, I mean, the one down in Holsted, down a couple miles is much better.
Yeah, it's,
Are you actually gonna do something more than a wood fence to make it look a little nicer like this?
well, we have screened the heck out of it.
Well, I'm
We've
not
done
just
a
here like the apartments, but like a fake facade and window.
I don't know, because that, again, that's a separate project with the county. Well, as far as the smell, I saw that there's a bioxide tank, so I'm assuming that's what it's.
Yeah, and ultimately the plan is to decommission this once the new sewer.
With the
plant
smell gets in.
But yeah, once the new sewer plant is in, I think that's like 5 years out for the treatment plant approximately, and so the expectation is that gets decommissioned then.
Yeah. So right now, we're screening it, getting it as far away from, or getting our village as far away from it as we can. Given, because you guys have to build 2 setbacks, right? So I'm at that, and I still got that in front, and we're, so,
And I-
We're working with it, it's temporary, we know it's
Right,
temporary.
and I imagine that's the best location by topology for the,
That was the location for here.
because I think stuff still runs down.
Well, this is gonna be pressurized,
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna put-
but that was where the sewer district placed it to have the easiest gravity feed to it for the surrounding areas.
That makes sense.
So we're kind of working with what, they're giving us. No, who gets to pay for it.
Again, that's all. Pavement.
I don't know what's inside of it, I really don't.
No, no, in your road was your parking area, that's.
Oh, it's a roller compacted concrete. With the asphalt top. But you put the workhorse on with the asphalt, so really finishes, and it's like what people use.
Okay.
We do industrial projects where they don't put any asphalt on top of it, there's just no need to.
That's all I
It's rough.
That's all I have.
The only one question, the compactor, is that where you were talking about the last time about the, space for people to bring like bulk items?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we have a bulk storage next to the compactor.
okay. And that, is that the only trash compactor site on the
Yeah,
whole
central
property?
location.
Yeah, and all of it's inside the enclosure, so
Okay,
you don't see mattresses lying, well, if someone leaves it there, we have a place to put it in. Hide it until it's taken.
so anybody like in building 7 is gonna have to take their stuff on the other side of the property?
Yep.
Okay. And then I think that was I guess my only other suggestion, I think, was what Jasper said about, it's a nice big open space in the middle, but either some extra seating or just in different areas around that, people, it's a nice open space, but that if you want to park it, you're walking your dog around it, you're not just popping down in the grass, but other than that, I mean, it's beautiful. I knew that last time, and it was great. I guess they said the last time sets the bar high for other developers. That's what I had.
Okay. When Jasper mentioned the front of the building, so 3637, it feels like on the first page of, for this one, it's the first building that you have in section 6, so it's like the third one back. It feels more like the bottom one is the front, almost, because you don't see the stairs. So if we can situate that, and where the stairs come down, then that way they're coming, I think they're coming down out of the back, right? Like they're coming.
Yeah, so the bottom one you said looks more like the front.
Mhm.
That's the basic space 3637.
Perfect, there you go, that does,
Yeah,
that,
the stairs are facing the parking lot. That's where they're going
yes,
in.
exactly.
This architect that David works with a lot doesn't do the open breeze, he likes these closed.
Yeah, they look a lot nicer, and they're not wind tunnels either then, where they collect.
Yeah, that's why it's, when I looked at that, I'm like, that doesn't look like the back of a building.
No, no, so, okay, great. Yep, okay, great, all right. Yeah, and you don't, residents don't seem to that.
We can open up all the breezeways though if you want.
It's good snow collectors.
Reminds me of my terrible apartment days, right?
I will mention real quick that the light bulb for, or the lumens for commercial is 3,000 still, the maximum.
Interesting.
Yeah. So my 3,000, what I was saying, wasn't doing it based off of what you said.
Mhm. But I looked in the, at the code and it's maximum 3,000.
But has anybody built anything in the area that is that low of output? That we can even go take a
We've had
look
some
at?
commercial come through, but that actually has not been, it hasn't been a call out yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which
we
is
were able to
interesting.
comply- We were able to comply with that on that other,
Yes.
that residential hotel.
Yes, yes,
Now, it's taller light fixtures, because I think it allows what, 20 feet?
yes.
So they did 20 feet with the 3,000.
Because it was commercial.
So this is
Correct.
commercial, yeah.
So I'm just throwing out information on it.
So I think there's definitely a to-do to go back and for us to go back and look at it, at that and the Hardy, like, so.
So what's the top of the soffit on at the third floor?
Lighting,
How
yes.
tall is that? So what's the top of the soffit?
You mean in the breezeway or?
Yeah, so how tall is, the building like into the ridge, right?
And if
At the bottom of the roof pitch?
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably about 30 feet.
Okay,
So
so
I mean, I don't know exactly what that is.
The length will be
9
under.
foot ceilings and a 22-inch truss, so it's probably 32 to 30.
that's gonna look odd to have the lights underneath your windows when you're out on the third floor, right?
That's why we tend to use the downlight. I mean, if you use the normal street, like you like to call it an acorn or whatever they call it, where it's more of a old style street light, then we'll have to put like the cutoff or the shields on the side so that they don't face into the apartment. And occasionally we do that with downlighting too, just on one side if it's near.
Okay. So it's actually more appealing, really, it's not shining into anyone's.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to rent an apartment or not get a lot of complaints as soon as we've got a street light shining into their window. So,
Absolutely, okay,
but it's pretty easy to solve that issue.
That'd be the Holiday Inn across the street.
yeah,
Is that what happens?
okay. One of the things that I noted, and it's not that I don't like it, it just is, I said it at the beginning, the clubhouse, I really like, it feels a little bit modern. That's my only, it's not that I don't like it, it just feels, I love the building style. I think it's the more flat roof.
It's a flutter.
It made me feel like it was a little bit more modern. Not that I don't like it, but if you felt like going back and doing anything, again, I don't think, I'm trying to get back to it.
Is it-
Yeah, it's down there too. Again, I think it will stand out. I don't know that the trustees are gonna have a problem with it. But it does look very modern. It really looks very modern. To call out, they might call it out, so. But again, it's, yeah, because it's not, it's more modern than rural, but I think it's beautiful. So it's very, very beautiful, so. The only thing, my thought with the dog park was, I do like the idea of it being, if there were big dog versus small dogs, even though sometimes small dogs like to act like big dogs. But I know people can be very sensitive too. So if you were to, my only worry with if you were to split it big dog, little dog, is would it feel that size, would it feel too small? Once you got more than a dogs in there.
No, right, I mean, I think there's plenty of space to make it work.
Okay,
I mean, we have done one that's split for large and small dogs, and the size works well.
Okay.
For big dogs. I mean, it's not like you're taking just a small area and just cutting it in half so they have no room.
yeah,
Honestly, I think when we haven't done it, it's been because we were a little limited on space. So we
Okay.
have a bigger dog park, and we didn't want to cut it in half.
okay.
But I
Is
think
there a way to
here-
expand that one maybe a little bit?
Yeah, I think here you have enough room to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
There's no size limitation here, really. We got it down, but we can work with that.
yeah,
So we can make it bigger in that area. Again, it's fencing and it's got grass, so.
exactly, yeah.
Tough, huh?
Yeah. And I'm sure that
One part
honestly, with
right.
these being apartments, you're probably going to have a size limit anyway. So I picture my Great Danes being in there.
Not
Yeah.
that big,
Yeah.
but.
But, yes.
Sometimes it is nice to help people.
Yeah, yeah,
safety of really small dogs and even medium-sized dogs. as
yes.
well.
So when my son was looking at this tonight, I was looking at a couple of things while we were eating. And, he said, that can't be an apartment because it has a garage. And I said, no, it is an apartment. Don't you remember, we had family that lived in the same style for a little bit, where it was a 3-level. And, because I said Bear lived there, their dog, and Bear is a chocolate lab. And so obviously you might get like that size. But I know when they lived there in Longmead, they wished there was a dog park because it's nice to be able to get them out and let them off leash and everything and feel protected. So I do really appreciate the dog park. I do also agree with that lower. What's there right now on both sides? So on both sides near building 1 and 2, how it kind of is at the bottom of the baseball diamond almost, it looks like. So between 1 and 2, where there's concrete right there, it looks like. And then on the opposite side where it goes into the green space, what are those black things right there?
Those are pergolas or trellises, so they give you an overhead, so those are seating areas. It's not, so those are seating areas down there.
They are seating areas. How big are those?
You should have details on this.
Okay.
It's in there.
I
They look,
was gonna say
just from looking at this, they have about 20 feet long.
I thought that was the umpire.
I think it was like 2 6-foot benches on each one, if I remember right.
Oh, are they these?
They're in the-
No, oh, I thought, yep, I opened up right to it. Okay. So they're 5 feet, they're about,
20 feet between posts.
yep, okay, so they're about,
They're not really cage structure,
2 and
but they're
2.
something that ain't, so you've got a place to sit.
Yeah, okay, all right. I don't know, if there, so you have 2, you have 1 on each side. You have 1 facing the park, I guess.
Yeah, then the other's kind of the overlook over the pond, so you can have traffic go by, I guess.
I don't want it to be where we're like cluttering the space, because the beauty of it is that you're right against the state park. So I think I'm okay with that, because you do have 1 bench around that in addition, right, somewhere?
Yeah.
1 bench.
Keep on looking at that.
Where to? I know you sprinkled the benches around the park area, so that makes sense.
Just gotta find a sheet of paper if you want. There's 2 benches underneath that pergola and that central green space, and then 2 on the lake.
Yeah.
I don't see any others around that pathway in the central green.
Okay, maybe that's okay. We'll see what the trustees, if they think that there's something, again, I don't think there's need to like overdo it. I do love that the ravines are right there, honestly, because they're a lot of fun to hike through. And for people to be able to live there and feel like they're right with nature, I think is going to be very cool for this property. So, I don't have anything else. That was actually it. So really, when we look at your list, where'd it go? I think, like we said, obviously there's the lighting that we need to work out. And that's it at this point, right?
Yes, and then adding the 4-foot sidewalk.
Yes, and the 4-foot sidewalk,
And
that's
then,
what we observed.
pergola on the north side. Would be the,
Somewhere in there.
the exit of that list.
Okay. All right, that's great. One more question. Do you have a water station for dogs up in that dog park? Do you usually put like a little water station?
It just depends on if there's a reasonable place to get water.
Okay.
You don't want to, you have to winterize it every year.
You have to winterize
That's
it.
true, okay.
Most people will bring their own water.
Well,
Okay.
but if it's easy to do, we like.
Okay. Just knowing that, I mean, it seems like our summers are getting hotter
Yeah,
and,
it's a home run if it works.
yeah,
If it's, but we've had them before that are a little far away, and if they aren't categorized properly.
That it can
Work
last. Sure.
beginning of the next year.
Okay,
So is it the intention that you guys are gonna manage this too? You're not just putting it up and selling it off? Or is that-
Yeah, it's correct. We intend to hold it.
Oh, hold it?
Yes.
Okay. Is there gonna be a sign on the 36 side at all, showing where they're lit up or anything?
No, I don't believe that we have.
Are we allowed to use that?